Hello, Saskia, devotional goddess here. Many of you have been following me for a while and have followed me on my cancer journey and onwards, and maybe before that as well, through my yoga and my teachings. And as with anyone who has been on a cancer journey, it is such a pivotal turning point. Part of you dies with that journey, as that is the goal. That is the goal, to kill off the cancer. And there is a purging on a very deep level that you go to, and you also are confronted with your mortality in ways that you never thought you would be. And one of the things I really leaned on throughout this time while I was going through the cancer journey, and even now as I'm recalibrating life, rebuilding life, is my yogic practices and how they have been the foundation throughout my life. Even before I moved to the US, I started my yogic training and my yogic practice in Europe. And it has been the foundation to so much that I do and that I have lived through. And I've lent on it throughout. Speaking to nurses as I was going through the journey and coming to understand how, when I went through my MRIs and my biopsies, and I even went through an MRI biopsy, which meant I had to be incredibly still and in an enclosed space for a good amount of time, around an hour, 45 minutes. And I was able to draw my senses inwards and come to stillness within. And that was through my yogic practices. I turned inwards, I went to my breath, and I was able to remain one-pointed in that steadiness. When they do an MRI biopsy, they first take an image of the area, which was my left breast, that they needed to go into, that they needed to take the biopsy from. And then they take that image and they transplant it over where the doctor needs to go in order to take the biopsy from. So I had to be incredibly still. Any movement at all would have made the whole procedure null and void. And they'd made that very clear. And I knew I could do it. I knew I would be okay. And in speaking with the nurses afterwards and reflecting upon it, I was like, how do people do that? I have my yoga to lean on. How do people go into those situations knowing that they have cancer, and most likely, and these biopsies, these tests, these are going to determine the extent to which they have it? It's all very nerve-wracking. It's all very unknown and scary. And the nurse said, no, many people need to be sedated. Some need to be completely put under before having an MRI, because you're in an incredibly confined space. The sound of the MRI, that clunking, can be disorientating to people, can be nerve-wracking. And I really began to see clearer than ever how my yoga, how it's so deeply integrated into my life and also into my parenting, and how I'm able to be in difficult situations with my children and be able to cultivate holding the space, and also being able to be still and intuit what it is they need. My rational mind will be like, oh my God, how on earth am I going to help them? What on earth am I going to say? What am I going to do? They need my support. What? And my intellect freezes because I don't know how to show up in the best way possible for them that I would like to. But when I allow myself to be still and to breathe and drop into my heart, I have a sense, I have a knowing as to what to say. And my practice is saying less. And that will always be my practice. And it will always be something to refine. Parenting will always be something to refine and to evolve and grow and change, just as my children do. But I'm able to shift and pivot and adapt in ways I would not have if I did not have my yogic practices to lean on. So this is what I'm sharing. Click the link below if any of this resonates. If you would like to build your own toolkit in how to better serve yourself and your children, it would be my pleasure to work with you, to mentor with you in teaching you some life skills through the yogic practices. It is invaluable. And even when I feel I don't know which direction I'm going in, I know it will come, because over the years I've built that inner relationship with myself, to know that I can draw inwards and connect to my own intellect, my own heart, wisdom and intellect, or intelligence, and connect with my higher self. Message me, reach out, book a session, whatever resonates with you, and it will be my pleasure to work with you. Many blessings.